To understand inductive, it helps to understand the concept behind inductive. And that's the idea that everyday content can have educational value. Let's take a pizza commercial, for example. We've all seen them. And on the surface, the most obvious opportunity might be to design questions around the pizza itself. Given the proper tools and a fact such as this pizza happens to be 14 inches in diameter, you could challenge the students to determine the average diameter of the piece of pepperoni, how much pepperoni comes on a slice, or what's the arc length of a slice, whether the pizza is cut in half, quarters, or eighths. But I actually want to rewind the commercial to a scene that might be easy to overlook, but actually contains a fun and challenging opportunity for students to think like a detective and to apply some lessons that they've learned in the classroom. Let's take a look at the woman in the scene. Can we determine how tall she is? I would say we can based off of two clues. One, the humerus bone is one of the bones that forensic anthropologists use to determine how tall somebody is. And two, 95% of adult U.S. women, the distance between the center of their pupils is 64 millimeters. So given those two clues, if we had an ability to measure the distance between the center of her eyes, we could use that to set up a proportion that would help us estimate the length of her humerus bone. And in doing that, we'd actually be able to estimate the height of the woman. So this is where things really start to become fun, because if we were to pull back and take a wider look at the room, now that we know we can use the woman as a frame of reference, how many other things in this room can we figure out? These are all questions that begin with "I wonder." And it's what Gumshoe enables teachers and students to do with everyday content. So let's see what happens when we bring a pizza commercial into Gumshoe. Now, Gumshoe has two top-level modes. You're either in observe mode or explore mode. Observe mode is where instructors or instructional designers can provide contextual pop-ups that present themselves as the video plays. It's also where teachers can provide the learning objectives to the student, helping them understand what are they going to learn and apply in this lesson. Explore mode is where students are able to review facts, investigate, and collect evidence. Facts are where instructors are able to provide a variety of information to the student, ranging from clues to contextual help to questions, things that make the student think more conceptually. Each fact may contain one or several snapshots that are actually taken from the video by the instructor's discretion, requiring the student to go in and collect evidence as part of an assignment or learning process. When students activate a snapshot, they're taken from an observation mindset into an exploration mindset, and the toolbar above the video changes from being a video player into an exploration toolkit, where students are provided with a number of tools that they can use to take measurements, draw on the surface, and collect evidence as part of the investigation process. In this example, which should look familiar now, we're going to use the tape measure tool to measure the distance between her eyes. We'll then use the tape measure tool again to measure her humerus bone. And these two pieces of evidence will be used in conjunction with the facts and clues provided to the student to help them determine how tall the woman actually is. Now from here, the student is able to review and select evidence that they would like to bring over into what is called the reveal process. Much like a detective has to build their narrative on who done it, the student has to build their story on how they solved the problem. And evidence gets moved over into the reveal, where the student is able to annotate and write their story around it on what was the challenge, what was their approach, and what were the conclusions that they came to as they solved that problem. When they're done, this information can then be shared with their instructor or fellow students. And this is one example of why we believe that everyday content can have educational value.